Have you ever closed your eyes at a concert or while listening to your favorite song and just let the music wash over you? It feels almost like magic, doesn't it? A single note from a guitar or a voice can fill an entire room, reaching your ears from far across the space. Imagine you are sitting in a room. A friend picks up a guitar and plucks a single string. Instantly you hear the note. It seems to happen at the exact same moment, as if the sound just appeared in your ears. Our brains perceive it as an instantaneous event. There's the action, the pluck, and then there's the result, the sound. We don't experience any delay or sense the journey that the sound had to take to get to us. This seamless experience hides an incredible secret, a hidden problem that physics had to solve. The air between you and that guitar isn't empty. It's a vast, invisible ocean of molecules. For the sound to reach you, it has to find a way to cross that ocean. The challenge is that the sound itself has no physical form. It isn't a tiny particle that flies from the guitar to your ear. So how does it bridge the gap? The answer begins with a simple yet powerful action, a vibration. Everything that makes a sound, without exception, starts by vibrating. When your friend plucks the guitar string, it doesn't just make a note. It shakes back and forth, incredibly fast. This movement is the origin of everything you hear. Think about a drum. When you strike its surface, you can see it ripple and vibrate. If you speak and gently touch your throat, you can feel a buzzing sensation. That is the vibration of your vocal cords. This is the first crucial step. Now, let's go back to that vibrating guitar string. As it moves, it bumps into the tiny invisible particles of air that are right next to it. It pushes them together, creating a small area of high pressure. Then, as the string moves back the other way, it leaves a space behind it, creating an area of low pressure. It is constantly pushing and pulling on the air molecules directly touching it. But here's where the journey really begins. Those air molecules that just got pushed, they don't fly across the room. They simply bump into the next layer of air molecules in front of them, passing that push, that little bit of energy along. And those molecules then bump into the next layer, and so on and so on. It creates a chain reaction, a ripple of pressure that expands outwards from the guitar string in every direction. Imagine a long line of dominoes standing on end. You tip the first one over. It doesn't travel to the end of the line. It just falls and tips over the next one, which tips over the next one, until the effect reaches the very end. The dominoes themselves barely moved from their spot, but the wave of falling motion traveled the entire length of the line. This is exactly how sound travels. It's a wave of energy, not a flow of air. This traveling disturbance is what we call a sound wave. It's a series of compressions where the air molecules are squished together and rarefactions where they are spread apart, all radiating outward from the source. The air in the room isn't a gentle breeze carrying the sound to you. It's more like a perfectly still pond. When the vibration happens, it's like dropping a pebble into the water. Ripples spread out, but the water itself doesn't flow away. It just moves up and down. This wave travels through the air at an incredible speed, about 343 meters per second, or over 200 kilometers per hour. That's why you hear the sound from across the room, almost instantly. This is called frequency. Frequency is how many times the source, like the guitar string, vibrates back and forth in 1 second. We measure it in a unit called hertz. A slow vibration creates a wave with crests that are far apart. Your brain interprets this low frequency as a low-pitched sound, like a tuba or the rumble of thunder. A fast vibration creates a wave with crests that are packed very close together. Your brain interprets this high frequency as a high-pitched sound, like a whistle or a bird's chirp. Every single musical note you have ever heard corresponds to a specific frequency. A middle C on a piano, for instance, vibrates about 261 times every single second. So we have pitch, but what about volume? What makes a sound loud or soft? This is determined not by the speed of the vibration, but by its size or intensity. This property is called amplitude. A gentle pluck on a guitar string makes it vibrate with a small movement. It doesn't push on the air molecules very hard. This creates a sound wave with a low amplitude, a shallow ripple. Your brain perceives this as a quiet sound. The energy in the wave is small, but if you pluck that same string with a lot of force, it vibrates with a much bigger, more aggressive movement. It pushes on the air molecules with great power. This creates a sound wave with a high amplitude, a powerful, tall ripple. Your brain perceives this as a loud sound. The energy carried by the wave is much greater. So, when a musician plays, they are masterfully controlling both the frequency and the amplitude of the vibrations they create. They choose the notes to control the pitch and play with different forces to control the dynamics, from quiet to loud. This entire process depends on the sound having something to travel through. We call this a medium. For us, the most common medium is the air we breathe. But sound can travel through other things too. In fact, it can travel through liquids and solids even better than it travels through gas. Have you ever been underwater in a swimming pool and heard a muffled sound from outside? That's a sound wave traveling through the water to reach you. Sound actually travels about 4 times faster in water than in air because the molecules in a liquid are packed much more closely together. They can pass the vibration along far more efficiently. It's even faster in solids. If you put your ear against a long wooden table and have someone tap the other end, you'll hear the sound very clearly and quickly. The molecules in a solid are locked tightly together, making them excellent at transmitting vibrations. This also explains one of the most famous science fiction movie mistakes. In space, there are no epic explosions with booming sounds. Why? Let's return to our room. The sound wave is now traveling towards you. But what happens when it finally arrives? The journey isn't over yet. It has to be turned back into something your brain can understand. This is the job of your ears, which are incredibly sensitive and sophisticated biological instruments. The outer part of your ear, the part you can see, acts like a funnel, collecting the sound wave and guiding it inward. The wave travels down your ear canal until it reaches a very thin, taut piece of skin called the eardrum. When the high and low pressure parts of the sound wave hit your eardrum, they cause it to vibrate. It moves in and out, perfectly mimicking the pattern of the original sound wave. The eardrum has captured the sound. It is now vibrating at the exact same frequency and amplitude as the guitar string from across the room. These tiny mechanical vibrations are then passed through 3 of the smallest bones in your entire body. These bones act as levers, amplifying the vibration and sending it deeper into your inner ear. Finally, the vibration reaches a snail-shaped, fluid-filled structure called the cochlea. Inside the cochlea are thousands of microscopic hair cells. As the fluid inside the cochlea vibrates, it causes these tiny hairs to move. The hairs that respond to high frequencies are at one end, and the ones that respond to low frequencies are at the other. When these hair cells bend, they trigger an electrical signal. They are the final translators, converting the mechanical motion of the sound wave into the language of your nervous system. These electrical signals then shoot up the auditory nerve to your brain. And it is only there, inside your mind, that these signals are interpreted as the rich, complex experience we call music. From a vibrating string to a pressure wave in the air, to a vibrating eardrum, to vibrating liquid in your ear, to an electrical signal, it's an extraordinary relay race of energy. The big insight here is that the world is constantly communicating through invisible forces. The air around you, which seems so empty and still, is actually a dynamic medium, a highway carrying countless vibrations from every direction. Every rustling leaf, every spoken word, every car horn, every beautiful melody is a physical wave expanding through this medium. Sound is not an abstract concept. It is a physical disturbance in the material around you. Music isn't just notes and rhythms. It is sculpted air. A musician is an artist who shapes vibrations in time, creating patterns of pressure that travel through space to create an emotional response in your brain. Understanding this turns a passive act of listening into an active appreciation of physics. You are not just hearing sound. You are sensing the result of a physical chain reaction that started somewhere else and ended inside your head. This fundamental principle is the key that unlocks a huge range of technologies. We have learned to not only listen to sound, but to manipulate and control it. This is the science of acoustics. Engineers design concert halls with curved walls and special materials, not for looks, but to carefully guide sound waves so that every person in the audience hears a clear and balanced performance. They are engineering the path of the vibrations. When you use a microphone, you are using a device that acts like a mechanical ear, turning sound waves into electrical signals that can be recorded or amplified. A speaker does the exact reverse, taking electrical signals and using them to vibrate a cone, creating new sound waves from scratch. It's all about mastering the vibration,